Meanwhile, in New Jersey...
So, Marissa, what talking points do you want to hit on in this week's episode?
Well, Jackie, let's talk about how the film addresses the patriarchy. Ooh, and representation of marginalized people. Ooh, and even philosophical ramifications of good versus evil in horror.
We can point out the triangle boobs, talk about the blood splatter, and the practical effects. And also the male gaze?
My gaze at the males.
Hi-yo! From feminism to fangirling, the Jersey Ghouls cover all the bases of horror from a woman's perspective.
New episodes are uploaded every other Sunday.
Just search Jersey Ghouls to find us on social media and your favorite podcasting app.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass the Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come baby come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come. We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
We're back with another franchise February, and this week we're talking about 2012's Texas Chainsaw, or if you saw it in theaters, Texas Chainsaw 3D. Kyle, you are a huge Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan. You picked this one, which has... I was doing a lot of what are people's Texas Chainsaw...
What does it has, Matt?
Well, here we go.
Matt.
I was checking a lot of like what are people's personal Texas Chainsaw Massacre rankings or even websites rankings, and this is often in the bottom two. So, and I don't know if I agree with that, but Kyle, tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so Texas Chainsaw 3D, I did see in theaters. I can't believe I didn't tell this on the Friday the 13th episode that we did. Doesn't matter. I kept the Texas Chainsaw 3D glasses that came with it because I stole an extra pair. I saw it in Syracuse, New York. I had a Texas Chainsaw 3D Lightbox poster that it came out my senior year of college. And Trey Songz performed at my college that same year. I, on Twitter at the time, begged him to sign my poster. He did not respond. And then I watched this later on in my life on a 3D TV at a friend of mine's house. And then for this particular viewing, and this is like probably the fourth or fifth time I've watched this movie. I just watched this plain Jane on the streaming service that it's available on, so no 3D.
I saw no third dimension.
But if you watch it no 3D, you know where the 3D is.
Boy,
very
do you.
Clearly.
Boy, this is one of those
very
good.
Apparent to you.
This was, you know what? Credit where credit's due. At this point, a lot of movies were being released as 3D movies, and a lot of those movies were shot as a 2D movie and then spent way too much money hiring people to manually turn it into a 3D experience. You cannot deny that this from day one was intended to be a 3D movie. The first day that they yelled action on set, they were there with a goal in mind.
If I know and I can pinpoint this correctly, you're referring to two things. You're referring to this, and then you're referring to Saw 3D. That came out around the same time that effectively ended that franchise for a while. Chester Bennington got killed, great, but nothing could have saved that movie in theaters. Oh shit! I mean,
I should correct you in that movie,
but at that moment,
you're not talking about when the actual. You're not. Someone don't isolate that and make it sound like Kyle's. Super excited about the death of Chester Bennington. Chester Bennington died. Great. Moving on.
Not what I mean. Different things. But there was this realm of 3D that was happening that, and of course horror is at this sort of like attempt and precipice of making this happen. So and Texas Chainsaw, how ripe were they for another rendition, right? Like, because Platinum Dunes came out with a remake in 2004. And then there was The Beginning, which was theatrical, but it wasn't acclaimed.
Didn't do
and
well.
It kind of ended that stint, right? So Texas Chainsaw 3D as this, legitimate continuation of the story, to me, was very welcome, and I have a lot of fun with it, even to this viewing. My joy of this viewing has not been lost, my joy of this movie has not been lost upon this viewing. So that's where I'm at with Texas Chainsaw 3D.
So I thought that this was my first time watching this until I went to review it on Letterboxd and saw that I had already given it a 1-star review. But I bumped it up. But I bumped it up to 2 stars because
out of 4 or 5.
Out of 5, but I still think 2 stars
you gave
out of
this
5 is generous.
A 2-star out of 5?
Yeah. Wait,
this
time. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. I think that when it comes to franchises and franchises that I love, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one masterpiece film, and then it falls into buckets. And the buckets are either it's bad, but it's a fun watch, or it's really hard to get through. I feel like with this one, it is the most in the dead center of those 2 buckets at any given moment, because from scene to scene, I'm either like, this is so much fun and I'm really enjoying myself. And then other times it would move into this other bucket where my brain was just like, this is so bad. And the first issue with this entire movie, every critic in the world has pointed it out, is that the biggest villain in this movie is math, because the movie starts in 1973 where a newborn baby is taken, and then it jumps to 2012 where said newborn baby from 1973 is a 20-something-year-old employee at a grocery store. Yeah. So every so often I'd be like, is she supposed to be 40? I don't know. She has to be playing a 20-year-old. None of her decisions make sense as a 40-year-old. This is very confusing. But I actually in my review, I said I'm giving this thing an extra star from the last time I watched it, because this is a fun watch and I would revisit this again easily. Mm-hmm. I just don't. I think a movie has to be actually good for me to give it. It either has to be actually good for me to give it 3 stars or higher, or it's got to be like sleepaway camp. Like every second is just a masterpiece of like enjoyment with your friends level bad. And I think that this is just too like back and forth. There's so many things I like, but there's also so many things I can't. There's too many goddamn characters in this movie, for starters.
Oh, yeah. But also, which is weird because you think about it, there's only 4-5 people in the original, like, 25-year-old teenagers, you know?
Yeah. It's just they keep introducing more characters that are there for like maybe 10 minutes, but we're supposed to remember who they are throughout. Like
No.
The other part that this has been my issue with every 2000s and beyond Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And this one I think has the hardest hurdle to get over because it starts off where we're getting all this footage from the original movie. And in that footage, I'm like, my God, Leatherface has never looked better than he looks in that first movie. And I think it's because, like, he just looks like a dude. He's just a dude in that first movie.
He looks like a lady, really.
He looks like a lady in some parts, yeah. And then there's something about the Michael Bay remake and beyond where they like tried to make Leatherface Jason Voorhees, and like they tried, like the masks look way too professional film studio mask for him to be wearing versus like when you're watching the first movie, you're like, yeah, that looks like a mask that somebody who's living in a shack by themselves made. Like there is this like cool gritty rawness that I've just never loved the look of Leatherface in the 2000s, no matter how hard they try from just a visually aesthetic point of view. But I will say, of that whole chunk of like 2000 to 2020 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, I think this is the best one. I think that this is better than the 2003 remake. I think it's definitely better than the beginning. It's way better than that fucking Leatherface movie from like 2017. Yeah. Like, what a fucking train wreck that film was. Yeah. But I think this is, I would put this on par, and Kyle, you might be very stoked to hear this. I would say this is very similar to Part 4. The new generation. I think this has new generation energy.
It kind of does, yeah.
To me, like I would still. It's a 2-star movie that I would still say is in my top 5 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, which I think says more about that franchise than anything. But
correct. No, 100%. I think that like there is a wide berth of where you can place these. If you ask a horror fan, particularly, or I mean, honestly, I take that back. I think if you ask anybody who has watched a chunk of Texas Chainsaw movies, because I have a few friends who I would say that they are horror fans, but like and this is not to alienate them by any means. I actually think that it's to lift them up. They like other things besides what we're discussing, right? Like they have other things that they enjoy in their lives, but they also really enjoy horror movies, and there is something about this sort of like casual but interested viewer that I think a lot of those particular people gravitate towards Texas Chainsaw, and I think that this is such a great point of either entry or appreciation, or both, for an honored franchise, an honored character, an honored thing.
But
right, like
I
really
also think that if you're the type of horror fan where you're of the mindset of like, the first Halloween is great and every sequel sucks and ruined it, or the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is great and every sequel after, this movie's not changing your mind. This movie is the thing that you point to prove your thesis. But I just think that this movie has a way more fun energy to it than a lot of those like this is. I don't mean to keep naming TCM movies because they are all up for grabs, I'm sure, among other things, for double feature. But I would watch this movie like 14 times before I would rewatch Leatherface, A Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 that we've done on this show before from like 1990. Like, I think that this movie is more enjoyable. It moves quicker. But there are things that, like, I am also very judgmental about it. Kyle, I'm going to start here and then let you take the reins on walking us through the plot. But, like, we start with all this footage from the first movie, then we cut to the new footage where, like, a vigilante group kills the Sawyer family in their entirety. But I'm just like, who the fuck are these people? Like, Bill Moseley, for sure, is playing the hitchhiker. who are these other people? Where is the chef? Where is fucking anybody besides Grandpa and Bill Moseley?
It is crazy to me that the Sawyer family somehow in the dead of night has gathered friends. I didn't expect them as people who had friends, really. Beyond
it's
that,
it's just so at least 45 minutes of that first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is Sally running through the entirety of that house. I don't remember any of these bearded men being in that house at any point.
No,
I'm
they
like,
weren't
what?
there, and I don't believe for a second that they could have been called upon for a siege against the local authorities. Really.
No, it's like one of those things where it's like, it's where my issue with this movie is, which is like, all right, if you want to be a sequel to the original movie directly, fucking great. Then at least stick to what is in the original movie. Like, make the people in the house fucking look like the people who were in the house.
There's two guys who could have been Gunnar Henson, and none of them were Gunnar Henson, and I just felt weird about that being the case, right? Before we get onto that, because you're right. I mean, the movie starts out with a really lovely recap of the first movie. This interesting siege upon the Sawyer house by the local authorities that then lead us into the next part of this movie. But Scott, just to jump back like for 7 minutes, you reacted to Matt feeling this way about this movie in a way that I did not expect you to feel about Texas Chainsaw 3D.
I loved this.
Yeah,
I loved this movie.
I just needed to confirm that was your vibe.
I had the best time watching this.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't make any sense how good it is because it on paper should suck, but it's a fucking good time. It's dumb. It is a dumb movie with a dumb premise, and honestly, I had no expectation that I had no expectations for this. I thought that it was just gonna be bad, and it's super fun, and I feel like everybody involved with it. Maybe this is just me thinking back with a bit of like a rose-tinted glass, but it seems like the people that were involved in the production and acting and creation of this movie understood that this was a dumbass movie, and they it's also not slapsticky. It takes itself seriously. I mean, like, think about the time frame when it was made. It looks like it was made in the early 2010s, and it worked for me. Maybe it wouldn't have worked when it first came out, but it sure as fuck works now.
Yeah,
it almost.
Yeah. No, okay. I'm so glad you felt that way too. It could have gone either way. It's very polarizing. People don't like this movie a lot.
Well, so here's the thing that I think with this movie is, as much as I'm going to point out I'm going to have a lot of complaints. But I kind of agree with Scott, too, where despite every complaint that I have, this is a fun ride. And I think that this is the best case scenario for this, because I'm looking up this director who made this movie. Mm-hmm. And they only made 3 movies. This was the 3rd movie that they made. The previous films were a drama and a heist film. So it's not screaming to me that they're like a huge horror fan. But also, I can't help but clock that it took 7 years from the previous movie for them to make this. So I have a theory. Kyle, you might have a direct line here, but this almost feels like, shit, we have to make a we have to make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, or we're going to lose the rights to this franchise.
Possibly.
And brought in a guy who maybe didn't have a love of horror, but tried to do his best. And I think that this is the best case scenario, even if that is the case. Like, we have gotten... This could have been that fucking Hellraiser movie where Pinhead's just in a room next door to retain the... You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like
right.
At least... Even if that's the case, and a lot of the script feels like they did not care or want to sit there and do a second draft of the script because this needed to get finished in time for them to keep these rights or whatever. Even with all of this, it doesn't feel like it was lazily done when it actually came time to making it. It is a fun movie.
It's very fun. I will say Adam Marcus, who wrote Jason Goes to Hell, was one of the writers on this, and I think that there is and I'm assuming it's the same Adam Marcus. It's not a totally obscure name.
Nope,
but,
he wrote and directed Jason Goes
okay.
to Hell. Yep.
So I think that and Adam Marcus has this knowledge of horror, and he has this approach to being able, like, particularly to a franchise as seen in Jason Goes to Hell and now this, that I think he can kind of approach it with knowledge and understanding, and also like the ability to kind of like upend the thing that needs to be upended. And I think, yes, the timeline is fucked, but at the same time, he makes it, he doesn't make it make sense, but he makes it fun along with his other co-writers. He's not the only writer on this, but if he's part of this, he's able to make it fun and followable, even if it's far-fetched. There's a lot of F's. And we're going to talk about more of them.
And if his name's at the top, my assumption is that he wrote the original. I'm going to guess that he wrote the original draft, which probably was a more direct sequel to the original franchise. Mm-hmm. And probably, I'm willing to bet in his original draft, this is, again, going on my theories, probably his original draft maybe was taking place in the 90s and was a bit of a period piece. But again, if my theory's correct that this was like we got to get this thing out, I could see it being like, fuck it, it's 2012, we don't have the budget to make this a period piece, and then no one was like, but this character would be 40 if it's a 2000.
Yeah.
I think I've said this analogy on this show before, but there was this meme that I just think is so hysterical of this runway model who is on her heels and tripping the entire way one way down the runway, like she's wobbling the whole way, and she keeps her balance the entire time until she has to turn around and walk back. She nails it. She saves the whole damn thing, but she wobbles all the way down, and that's what this feels like to me. And I love her for it. I love this movie for it. And I will dive into what happens now after we watch that flashback. What we need to know out of what happens there is that there is, in this town, there is a sheriff, or there's a police officer, and there was a man who is now the mayor in present day who led a mob. There's a mob that torches the Sawyer house, and in the wreckage they find a baby, and that baby then gets taken from the wreckage and saved, while the rest of the family in the Sawyer compound gets burnt to the ground. And we flash forward to present day. Alexandra Daddario, who plays Heather, works in a grocery store and gets banged out by Trey Songz on the reg.
Also, she works in the meat. At the meat counter.
Works in the meat packing, the meat counter of this grocery store.
I love the outfit though too. Like, she works at the butcher counter, but she has perfect blue mascara and a crocheted slouch beanie, and her best friend has like her cashier smock like down almost to her belly button. It's fantastic. I love this movie.
I wish I had noted the costume or the wardrobe and the costume designer's name. I clocked it on the opening credits, and I was just like, because I've seen this movie a handful of times now, and I was just like, oh, they deserve credit where credit is due. So many crops, so many deep V's, lots of non-shirts. Plenty of amongst all genders. There is so much skin happening that is notable, but then there's no nudity in this movie either. It's just very it's all happening for this town, for this sweaty town, not in Texas yet, but wherever they fucking work.
So, you know how when sometimes you watch movies, there's things that give you anxiety? Like for me, it's when people are driving and the person's not looking at the road. I just always brace for a car crash. Man, watching her cut meat on that meat slicer, I'm like, I know it's too early for someone to slice a finger right now, but I am on edge watching the close-up of this meat getting sliced right now.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of that. There's just like there's a lot of just like it's unrelenting from that moment on. There's not a moment where I feel super fucking relaxed in this movie, to be quite honest, which is to its credit, because that's
not even at a carnival.
Texas Chainsaw. Not
I
even
always feel relaxed at a carnival.
Not even on the merry-go-round, Matt. Not even once. So Heather and I just refer to him as Trey Songz. Everybody else, I got their character names. I just never got his.
He's Trey Songz. That's fine.
She finds out. She gets this call that she is in the will of her grandmother, and that spirals into finding out that she was adopted. Her grandmother's name is Verna, and in order to deal with her passing and her potential inheritance, she has to go down to Texas. And she recruits her boyfriend Trey Songz, her friend, where is her name? Sorry, Kenny is going to drive, and then she has a blonde friend who I never took down her name, so I'm going to call her Blondie from now on. While I do this. So they all decide that they're not just going to go to Texas, they're going to go to New Orleans because that's going to be more fun. But they're going to take a pit stop in Texas, and they drive a classic VW van, because that's what you have to do if you're in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Kenny, who is a new boyfriend to Blondie, is going to drive the van, and they start making their way down. On the way down, they pick up a hitchhiker who has a lot to say about family and blood and weird shit. And he's also sexy as hell, that they pick up in the rain at a gas station. Lo and behold, that hitchhiker is not great for us. When we arrive to the compound, Heather meets with the realtor who gave her all the information about the will. I'm saying realtor. It's the person who gave her the information about the will.
Yeah, he's like the executor, I guess.
Yeah,
he's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. He's the executor. He's the only guy involved in any of this.
You might remember him as the jump to conclusions Matt guy from Office Space, which is
we're talking about Richard Reilly, who is
Richard Real, right?
Yeah, Richard Reilly. Yeah,
he's a real one, man.
Great character actor. He's real.
Nikki, by the way, is the friend.
Nikki. She is such a Nikki. Holy cow.
She is the definition of a Nikki. She's the most 2013 Nikki. 2013. Yeah, she is.
Let's ask a question, because something's about to happen here. Like you said, they picked up Daryl, this hitchhiker.
Yeah, Daryl.
And they do what I guess every human would do when they pick up a hitchhiker and go to a house for the first time is, hey, we're all going to leave. I'm going to trust you, stranger, to be the person to watch over my house.
Ridiculous. It doesn't matter how babyface Daryl looks and how kind he's been and how much he talks about family and blood. He is a fucking con artist, and as soon as he says, hey, we'll watch the house, and they're like, okay, cool, thanks, Daryl. Yeah. He flips on a dime.
It's so funny. He closes the door, and it's just like a whole different character.
It's on, yeah.
It's on. It's on. Absolutely. But Daryl is our entry point into finding out what is exactly up with this mansion that Heather has inherited. At the executor gives Heather a letter and is like, read this, and at no point in time has Heather read this note that was so important to have given to her to claim this property. She's not given any thought to it.
The other big piece of evidence that she's definitely 20 and not 40, because
yes, I think if I were to get any paperwork that somebody with a degree has told me to read, I'm going to read it.
It's going to be the first thing I'm going to say to my friends: get in the car. I need to read this real quick to figure out what's happening next.
I mean, honestly, doesn't have even less to do with the fact that someone with information gave me a note. I'm nosy as fuck. I'm going to read the note.
Yeah.
I want to know what's in.
Right. At this point in time,
I read
it's
junk mail
anything.
because I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
someone wrote a letter to me. I need to see what's in it.
Maybe I did actually get $2 from that like settlement from Amazon. I don't know. I have no idea.
Facebook
Maybe
gave me like $15 because they were taking my information, and I was part of a class action lawsuit with about 1 million other people.
Absolutely. I will read anything. I will say before 25, I might not have. So there is this moment that we're not quite sure of her age. But so they leave the hitchhiker there, and the hitchhiker is now turned while they go into the town for what fucking supplies? I don't know.
It's because the one random guy is like, "Let me cook for you," and then we see like the worst fucking knife skills I've ever seen. Like he's chopping a tomato and he's pulping it. Dumbass.
Again, I want to go back to this again. When have you ever, in any circumstance, been with a group of friends, there's 5 of you, and someone says, I'm going to cook for us tonight. I need to go to the grocery store to get things, and all 4 of the 5 people are like, "Ooh, a trip to the grocery store! Sign me the fuck up to join you."
Right. Oh, 100%. She just found out this house could be hers. Give her a moment, you know? She doesn't give herself a moment. It's not her fault. I mean, it's not their fault. They didn't coerce her. She
have
just
you
didn't
ever
take it.
tried to shop with a group of people? It is
horrible.
A fucking nightmare.
Horrible. No, hard pass. Somebody else can figure that out before I do.
Yeah.
You know, or Kenny can go by himself.
Yeah,
But
that's what I mean. Oh, Kenny, you want to shop? Go to the grocery store. We'll wait for you.
So glad you're buying groceries. I will even give you the card. They had this whole bit earlier where they used to steal each other's credit cards to like pay for whatever. You know, Kenny could have done that, but he doesn't. And they all leave the hitchhiker that they just met and have no trust in. Kenny has a little more trust than anybody else, but they still leave Daryl. And Daryl starts stealing shit. He just starts ransacking the house. He finds this giant fucking key to the city size key on a key ring in the entryway to this house, and he's going through the whole mansion trying to figure out where this key is gonna fit. He finds a hidden doorway, which just seems so oxymoronic. If you're gonna have a hidden wall door, you do not have a giant key to go to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, those are two different things.
The logic is really pissing me off. Stop.
It's crazy.
Well, also because it's as we learn, it's not like it seems like Leatherface is content in his confinement.
Leatherface is fine.
Yeah, until someone
need
kicks
to lock
his
him
fucking
in.
He has an
door
in-law
in.
apartment. He is fine. Dude, they set him up with an entire in-law apartment with 2 floors. He's fine. Leave him alone. You know? But that's what Verna wrote about in the envelope that we find out later. Don't worry. It's not, we're not, you know, we're explaining
yet.
what
The letter
Verna's
does get read
right.
eventually.
Yeah, in the last 15 minutes, last 10 minutes.
After everybody's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Heather. I blame Heather I honestly blame Heather for literally all of this. If Heather opened up that letter and read it then and there, I know we wouldn't have a movie, but at least people would be alive.
But they're insufferable, and her boyfriend and her best friend have been conspiring to cheat. So, again, they deserved to die for sure.
Yeah. We do get to the point of people deserving to die. Ryan was going to cook for everybody, and he was going to be fine. He didn't deserve to die.
But he was annoying. Did
Everybody
you see
else
those fucking earplugs? They're stupid.
Those plugs were rough, dude.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, 2013 plugs like that were not acceptable. Okay, yeah, Daryl gets it. Kenny, it turns into a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie here in the middle, because what happens is that Daryl gets it. They come back. I'm like, oh fuck, Daryl left. Let's party. Daryl ransacked this.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so pissed about it. He stole some candlesticks and some spoons. It's fine. Let's party. They party. Kenny gets taken by Leatherface. He finds the underground lair,
The butler's pantry
of Leatherface, the pantry, and we start to like wonder what's happening in this house. Kenny gets taken. Heather starts to look around. Trey Songz and Nikki continues to try to seduce Trey Songz, and she manages to do so pretty easily by panicking and pretending that there's something wrong and luring him out into the barn while Heather is looking around. And Heather finds her grandmother, Verna's body decaying up on the second floor at the same time that Trey Songz and Nikki have escaped to the barn. So Heather runs around the house trying to find them. She stumbles across Leatherface, who is clipping the fingers off of the hand of... I thought that it was Kenny, though it really could be any victim at this point in time. It could have been Daryl's hands.
I think it's Daryl's hands because isn't this the point where he is chopping off legs?
Yeah. So he's...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's chopping legs after he knocks her unconscious. I'm sorry.
Right, but Kenny is sort of in full form when we see that. So it could have been either of their hands. We don't really know which hand it is.
I just think
but it's
there
gnarly.
was this. Well, that's the thing. The fingers being cut off is gnarly. Kenny being sliced in half is really, really cool. But like just before this, we're supposed to see what Wikipedia lovingly describes as a decaying corpse, and it's basically just a woman with some blue makeup thrown on her face. Like,
it's great.
I almost wanted that. I wanted that to be like grosser to me, but whatever.
Literally every other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that has ever had a decayed or almost dead
it's like a
body
skeleton
has looked grosser. Right, yes, exactly. There's no reason that they did not let that be grosser.
Yeah, like that kind of called for being grosser. But yes, this is great. She runs. Boy does she.
Yeah.
And,
you know what she looks like? She looked
chased.
a little bit like crackle glass. Like she just kind of looked like antique crackle glass. Her skin did. It was just like, okay.
Her skin was the color of that knight from Mirror Mirror 2.
Hell yeah. Stealing my double features, Matt. Thanks.
Oh shit. So we have a good like sort of the proper Texas Chainsaw run away from Leatherface scene, because she gets knocked out, she gets dragged into the cellar, she sees Kenny get chopped in half while he's still alive, and she bounces. She's like, I'm fucking out of here. She runs, she gets out of the house. Leatherface is in pursuit. They get to the van. She gets to the on-site graveyard of the Sawyer family, and she hides in a coffin. And Leatherface tracks her down pretty easily. Like, hide and go seek is not that hard around these parts, and he's been playing it for a while. And he tries to chainsaw. He goes to try to chop her up, but then Nikki and Trey Songz hear this in the distance. They come out of the barn. They yell for him. And Nikki's yell is heard over the chainsaw, which is crazy. He pops up and he goes after them and chases them into the barn. She fires a gun and says, quote, "Welcome to Texas, motherfucker," end quote. In my knowledge, she's not even from Texas, but she might be. It's a big state. And she shoots Leatherface with a shotgun. I don't know if it actually hits him, but at least scares him off. And Heather drives the van into the barn to rescue Nikki and Trey Songz. Now, this does not last very long. They try to get off of the property. Trey Songz is now driving, and he's going to drive through the gate of the property, and that does not work. He really fucks up the van. Somehow, they are still able to get out onto the road, but Leatherface slashes one of the tires, and it flips the van, and it causes a big wreck for them. Now, we're going to follow along with Heather here, because she's the most important part. I actually don't even remember how Trey Songz dies. But he
dies in the car
crash.
He
dies in the car crash. Yeah.
Oh, so he doesn't even die at the hands of Leatherface.
I mean, sort of. Leatherface takes his fucking chainsaw and slashes along
Leatherface
the side
has the assist, like it's not quite. It doesn't
I did
quite
like that.
feel
The scene is like just Leatherface standing on the street on the like dirt road, and then the car goes, and then it just flips. Oh, that was a cool shot.
I like that a lot.
This movie has
actually,
like some pretty good shots in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so this movie, if I remember correctly, is shot by the original cinematographer from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Dan Yeager. Who?
No, that's not what I see
no,
here.
No, I'm sorry, not Dan Yeager. That's the actor. 1 second. There is.
Here, I have it right here because I'm on the wiki page.
You got it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is this person who does not have a hyperlink.
Okay, never mind. Okay, delete that from the transcript. I really thought that it was done by the same person. Anyway, oh no, I lost you because I minimized everything. I can't look at your beautiful faces. Okay, so that was a really great moment, even though it was not did not result in a direct death, Leatherface death, but it did result in a car accident. And then Heather runs out into the town and she ends up in a carnival, and Leatherface chases her into a carnival that's happening during Halloween. We find out that now this is a Halloween movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We find out this is a Halloween movie. And there is a house of horrors that exists in this carnival. There's a person in a jigsaw mask that Leatherface chases off, which is a fun little bit of business. A jigsaw pig mask from that particular part, and Leatherface chases her into the carnival. She dangles from a Ferris wheel, and while she's doing so, he waits patiently for her to come back down the other side. And in that moment, the sheriff from the town, who we saw earlier, very handsome sheriff, comes in and pulls his gun and is like, freeze! And in a perfect 3D moment, Leatherface launches the chainsaw at the sheriff. And it's a beautiful thing. Whether you have a 3D viewing apparatus or not, you can watch this chainsaw get thrown at you. And then he disappears into the night while we await Heather to come down. And Heather now gets brought into the police station, where everything starts to unfold right here, right now. We learn that, Heather learns that all about the Sawyer family, and that she was part of the Sawyer family, and that she was taken from the Sawyer compound during a siege. And she finds all of this out because she is left alone for 20 minutes with an evidence box of her grandmother's, while at the same time the police chief and the mayor of the town go into another room and start to discuss what needs to happen, because a chainsaw-wielding madman has come into the carnival, and we all believe that it is Jeb, who is Leatherface's real name, Jebediah. We believe that he has come back, and we're all skeptical. The town, is skeptical of his existence, and we now have a police officer on the scene at the Sawyer compound who is going to FaceTime with us while he goes and explores what is happening on this compound. And there's, we realize now that the police captain was there on the scene back in 1974, really trying to talk everybody off a ledge. And the mayor of the current present-day mayor of this town was the leader of the mob that torched the house. And they both have diametrically opposing views about how they're going to handle this situation. But the mayor takes over, and he lets this officer go in and FaceTime them as he goes and explores the scene of the crime, while we parallel Heather exploring the evidence box of this. And this is a really kind of a fun scene, honestly. Watching this officer go through the house and report back, and having this sort of opposing viewpoints while we just deal with this guy who's now stuck in the Sawyer house. And he fucks up, as any cop would, because they're cops and they have zero training in the matter. He ends up shooting Nikki, who is in the freezer, and pops up out of the freezer, a la the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He shoots her point blank, and they're like, fuck, we'll figure it out, it's fine. And then the phone cuts. This officer gets killed by Leatherface. This officer also gets his face sewn, chopped off by Leatherface, which I can't remember a movie in which we actually saw that happen. I don't think we've ever seen the act of the face of a Leatherface.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Maybe in 2003 there was like allusions to it. I feel like I remember like maybe during a credit sequence, but I don't think that we actually ever saw that happening. And boy, it's fucking gross because then he puts the mask on and he sews it directly to his face because he's an insane, overgrown toddler who does not know that you don't do that. He sews it right to his face. So upon figuring out all this stuff, Heather leaves the police office. She phones Richard Reilly, the realtor. He gives her more information, and then now it's this Hatfields and McCoy's situation where she really feels strongly about being part of the Sawyer family, while the other family / group is like, fuck you, we're gonna annihilate you from this area. You're the last remaining. You and your brother or your cousin Jeb are the last remaining Sawyers, and we're going to destroy you. So the corrupt sheriff, who is actually the son of the mayor, takes her after an escape attempt. He brings her back to the slaughterhouse, where he then ties her up, makes sure that her titties are almost showing, but not quite.
I mean, it's Alexandra Daddario.
You have to make sure that 75% of the boobs are shown on Alexandra Daddario. It is in her contract, I believe, and bless her for it. But it feels a little gross because these this Hick family is now going to take her down, off the clock sheriff style. But lo and behold, they're using her as bait to bring in Leatherface, and they're also going to hang him up and kill him the way that they wished they had done back in 1974. They managed to get themselves out of this situation, and in an iconic line where where Heather has now given Jeb the permission and the ability to take care of business, she says, "Do your thing, cuz," which is, last week we had a Friday the 13th line that was really, really good that we didn't talk about, which I don't have in front of me. But there is something about like late 2000s, early 2010s stingers for these reboots or reimaginings that just really, this is the one. I mean, if I were to rank those one-liners, "Do your thing, cuz," is a fucking all-timer. She really buys into the Sawyer family stuff really early on. And she's now just a Sawyer. And then by the end of the movie, she finally reads the letter. Let me just say that the Sawyer family needs adult services. They need services in that household. They need to contact their state reps. If she read the letter before, she would have been like, "Oh, there's a 6-foot toddler living in the basement that now I have to take care of. I'm good. I don't need the house. I don't need anything that you've left me. I'm going to go back to my job at the grocery store." But Verna, who is played by Marilyn Burns in this moment, it guilts her so hard into staying even before any of this happens. The letter is guilty enough, but now that she's been through this traumatic experience and all her fucking friends are dead, she needs to continue to live there and continue to provide Jeb with Flintstone vitamins so he can grow to be maybe 7, 8. And that's how Texas Chainsaw 3D happens in my viewing of Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey...
So, Marissa, what talking points do you want to hit on in this week's episode?
Well, Jackie, let's talk about how the film addresses the patriarchy. Ooh, and representation of marginalized people. Ooh, and even philosophical ramifications of good versus evil in horror.
We can point out the triangle boobs, talk about the blood splatter, and the practical effects. And also the male gaze?
My gaze at the males.
Hi-oh! From feminism to fangirling, the Jersey Ghouls cover all the bases of horror from a woman's perspective.
New episodes are uploaded every other Sunday.
Just search Jersey Ghouls to find us on social media and your favorite podcasting app.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass to Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come baby come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come. We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a-playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
Rotella Resale is your premier collectibles, toy, and novelty retailer. Online at RotellaResale.com. At RotellaResale.com, find the best and hard-to-find die-cast vehicles and live-action figures. They have some of the most popular vinyl LPs, Zippo lighters, and comics. Support the best artists with their rock t-shirts and posters. You will find so much more at RotellaResale.com with free shipping on all orders in the United States. Use the promo code RADIO for 10% off your order. Visit RotellaResale.com. That's RotellaResale. RotellaResale.com.
It was a good time. It was a very good time. I'm glad that I revisited
Trey Songz didn't
this.
sign my poster, and I still have my 3D glasses in my little horror movie promo box that I
Listen,
keep of things that I keep near and dear to my heart.
All I'm gonna say is maybe it's for the best that Trey Songz didn't sign anything for you, because fuck that guy. Do some Googling if you don't know what I'm referring to.
Oh no, I don't think I know enough about Trey Songz to have wished in 2026 for him to have signed my Texas Chainsaw poster.
No, he's got like 14 different allegations at him from all different types of people.
God
Yeah, it's not great. There's definitely a smoke if there's smoke, there's fire situation. Anyway, Kyle, after you made your friends watch Texas Chainsaw 3D, what would you have them watch as well?
I know it's such a, this sounds like such a cop-out coming from me, but I really, really, really want to watch Texas Chainsaw Next Generation with people after we watch this movie.
Expected nothing less.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do. I do think that they go hand in hand. So,
I mean,
what
I
about
think
you?
that's the right call. I'm also going to do a Texas Chainsaw movie. I'm going to do another one that I think was very unfairly hated on. I really, really liked the 2022 Texas Chainsaw movie that was released straight to Netflix. It's not a masterpiece. I'll never argue it to be one, but I think that movie is way more fun than it ever received its due for. And yeah, I would double feature that because I think it's the other newer Chainsaw movie that probably deserves a little bit more respect than it actually gets, or at least a little bit more viewing than it gets. Bad movie, but fun ride, which is what I would describe this as as well.
Yeah.
All right, and I would go with another Texas horror movie, but I'm going with the Tex-Ax movie, Frailty.
Oh, perfect.
Oh.
God,
wow.
Frailty's so good.
The Family Curse movie, that's what I was going with.
Yeah.
Well,
lovely.
We hope that we don't curse you on going to our Patreon, patreon.com/HMN podcast, and making sure that you have a good time with it. Go and check all of our bonus stuff. Go to our hmnpodcast.dashery store to buy some merch. Hit up all of our socials, including Letterboxd with HMN Podcast, and visit our website, hmnpodcast.com. Now, Kyle, what is something that you watched, listened to, etc.?
So I watched a movie called Night of the Juggler from 1980, and it was put out on a 4K by Kino Lorber, and I picked it up on a whim. I had saw a few people talk about it, but I really didn't like go into detail as to like why they talked about it. It was just people that I kind of dig their vibe about movies that they like, and I knew that it was like an 80s thriller, like action thriller, and fucking boy is it. Night of the Juggler is a 1980 thriller about a James Brolin who gets his daughter kidnapped in a moment of mistaken identity by a freaky dude in New York City, and it's just unrelenting from that moment in time. That happens like in the first 10 minutes, right? Like there's no real build up to that. He just has his daughter stolen, and he goes, and he's an ex-cop that is now in pursuit of this person who stole his daughter, and this person who stole his daughter kind of like goes underground and like through the city and is like just as knowledgeable, and it's an unrelenting action film in that way. It's also very sleazy. It's, you know, we're talking about like porno district, 42nd Street era New York. Like there's nothing like cute about this city, you know, and that's also part of it. Like the person who steals his daughter feels very adamantly about what's happening to his neighborhood, and it's not gentrification in the way that we talk about it in present day, but it's a way of like this ass backwards view of like, oh, you're letting, you know, XYZ people into my neighborhood, which used to be a nice neighborhood, right? Like, so this villain has this also like sick view of the world, and he thought he stole the daughter of a rich millionaire real estate person but instead he stole the daughter of an ex-cop who also lives in the neighborhood. So it's just kind of a gritty thriller, like an unrelenting action thriller that I really enjoyed. And I guess apparently it wasn't available to see on a better release than like VHS up until recently. So the fact that like these movies, it's just a good example of like, you know, people talk about this cult film, and in the horror world we talk about like cult films in a lot of realms, but there are cult and almost near lost films that exist in other genres that you just don't sometimes I don't know about. So I took a risk on it and I got it, and it was fucking awesome. So that's Night of the Juggler. I don't know if it's available on a streaming service yet. I'm sure it will be soon in this transfer. It's a lot of fun if you dig that kind of movie.
Hell yeah. Scott, how about you go next? Because I want to end on mine.
Oh, okay. So Bridgerton season 4 is great. I love Bridgerton, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I love costumes, and I love some snarky little dialogue, and I love a good romance story.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. And then I'm going to talk about, have either of you ever seen, it's a newer movie, Wendell and Wild?
No, but I saw you post about it on Letterboxd.
Yes. Okay. So this is a stop motion movie that Netflix put out, I want to say in 2024. And it is the follow-up film to Coraline from that director, the guy who did James and the Giant Peach, Henry Selick. It's his first movie since Coraline. So this is like 15 years. And here's what is amazing about this movie. And the movie is great in general. We've all talked about the shittiness that is Tim Burton saying that black people don't fit into his movie's aesthetics. And that's why he rarely casts them. Fucked up thing for Tim Burton to say. Well, here's a guy who basically created the blueprint of Tim Burton's aesthetic when he made Nightmare Before Christmas. And he makes a movie co-written by Jordan Peele that is an entirely black horror story for kids. And it fucking slapped. It was so good. It's so weird. P and Keel are the stars of it. They voice the two antagonists of the movie. And it is about these two demons named Wendell and Wild who want to... Their dad runs a carnival in the underworld, and they want to run the carnival as well. And the dad doesn't believe in them. So their goal is to come to Earth and build a successful carnival so that their dad will let them run the carnival in hell. But what also happens simultaneously during this is that there is a little girl named Kat whose parents own a very popular, they call it a root beer brewery. They own this root beer brewery. It's open to the family in this black neighborhood, and it's like a staple. But white real estate agents want to buy their land to build a prison, and they refuse to do so, and are then both killed shortly thereafter, orphaning their 8-year-old girl who blames herself for their deaths. And these demons convince her that if she helps them with their plan, they'll bring her parents back. But actually the demons are working for the real estate moguls and are basically tasked to actually resurrect all of the former white board members so that they'll vote towards this prison to like gentrify this. Like,
holy shit.
It has such heavy, realistic 2026 theming tied into it. It's just like a smart kids movie. I was really blown away by how much I liked it. So highly recommend, especially if you're like dabbling in horror for kids. This is a really good one. It's gross. It's got a lot of stop motion zombie stuff, which we fucking loved in Paranorman, and it works really great in this. It has his very like jagged edge style of like all of the characters remind me of like how Lock, Shock, and Barrel are animated in Nightmare Before Christmas with like very exaggerated cuts in their face and stuff. Just a good time. I really think that it's a well-made movie. It's charming. It's funny. It's deep. It's all of those things. Definitely worth a watch. I kind of think it got buried in 2024. So hopefully it like catches on later on and becomes like another Halloween classic along with Coraline and Paranorman. And that's all I got to say about that one. Check it out.
That looks cool.
And also, come back next week for the final episode of Franchise February.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey...
So, Marissa, what talking points do you want to hit on in this week's episode?
Well, Jackie, let's talk about how the film addresses the patriarchy. Ooh, and representation of marginalized people. Ooh, and even philosophical ramifications of good versus evil in horror.
We can point out the triangle boobs, talk about the blood splatter, and the practical effects. And also the male gaze.
My gaze at the males.
Hi-yo! From feminism to fangirling, the Jersey Ghouls cover all the bases of horror from a woman's perspective.
New episodes are uploaded every other Sunday.
Just search Jersey Ghouls to find us on social media and your favorite podcasting app.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass to Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come, baby, come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come. We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a-playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.